opportunity, the lasting effect that's going to have. So I just think that the networking and creating relationships with people, creating your own personal network is one of the most important things that you can be thinking about.
Yeah. I would say that, certainly I talked a little earlier about how I came about with that opportunity with WCW, and there were a couple of alums that were working there at the time, Mike Weber and Alan Sharp, and they headed up marketing and public relations for WCW, and so I think obviously that was my first step into being able to utilize the network. And I mentioned expecting the unexpected. Well, when I walked into WCW in Atlanta in 1999 after I left here, I thought that I was walking into a public relations position, and when I got there that first day, they actually moved me into promotions and marketing, corporate partnerships. So it was complete. At first I was, I think I was very upset, and I'm sure that I was, because I had told you, I walked in and I wanted to be the PR director for the Cleveland Indians, and they moved me into marketing promotions, and that turned out to be the best thing that ever happened, just because it is a completely different career path. And I ended up meeting Tom Hunt, who is sort of, I would say he's my mentor. He's at the Sacramento Kings now. He's the SVP there for all of their partnerships for Maloof Sports and Entertainment. He's one of my best friends. And so, it just turned out that he ended up, at the time he was working at Cartoon Network. He had done a few things in sports after, I think he's a 92 grad of the program, and he had been with Turner, and he had done a couple different things with wrestling and with Cartoon Network and some other areas of the company, and he ended up coming back right at the same time that I ended up getting hired, and it was just a coincidence, and we ended up meeting each other, and we hit it off, and I sound like we're dating, but we hit it off, and it was a great relationship. But having that person that can guide you and help you understand the things that you need to know in your particular business and area, and you respect them and they respect you, even if they are that much older than you. I mean, he had been in the business a long time before I was, but he understood that what I was doing was good for the company. I had come from this program, and so I think that's where it really led, and he and I still stay in touch, and we talk pretty consistently. So I think you never know, and I think it's the further away I think you get from graduation, the less you just become. Your lives take different turns. Your classmates, your kids, marriage, all the different things. You'll go different ways. Your business will go to different segments. People will move around and change. But I think that you've got to keep that network, that core network together. That when you were here, and the people that you've met along the way, like Mike Weber is now at TNA Wrestling, which is. Once you're sort of in that business, you're in that business, and he had been in it for a long time. People do different things, and it's just a matter of staying in touch with those people. And it's not about, are there any jobs, are there this or that. It's just about being, a human being and staying in touch and keeping good relationships. And those are the things that are going to come back to you later on when you actually do need to tap into that network and ask them for that favor or lead or contact. Those types of things, they're going to be willing to open that door. It's very much like what Jon was saying about networking and relationship building. So.
I think for me, I use it a lot. I think we have a lot of alums in the college athletic industry, and the good thing about college athletics is, well, especially I guess when I talk about it, my perspective is from Division I-A football programs, and so you got 120 schools. It's just not that many people who work in the business, and with national conventions. In the summer at NACTA, I see Ward at that. We have a couple other classmates that are in college athletics, so I see them at our national conventions as well as at symposiums and other things like that. So I say I use the network a lot from that standpoint. Doug Newth is a great friend of mine. He's class of '98. He's at University of Utah. There's just a lot of people in college athletics that's come through this program. And so for us, whether our team's playing their team and I see them on the road, or we're at a bowl game, or we're at I went to the women's basketball Final Four and you run into people, or I think there's more opportunity through our natural jobs to integrate more and to network more. So I find that I use it a lot. one of my classmates in particular is at Texas El Paso now, and I would say, he and I talk a lot. Doug Newth also at Utah. Martin Jarman, who was, I don't know what class, but maybe 03, is at Michigan State, and those are people that work in the same area that I do in the external side of college athletics, that I'll call and say, hey, I need an idea, I need help on this project, I need something. Like I mentioned before, I just recently took over the marketing area, and to be honest, I've never worked in marketing, so what did I do? I called Brian Wickstrom, I called Martin Jarman, I called Doug Newth, I called Matt Roberts, and I said, hey, can you guys email me your marketing plans for football? Sure. Had them that day. And, nothing's new. No one has a new idea. So, I read their marketing plans. I stay up at night. I make a draft of an NIU one, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, look at her. She's got a great marketing plan. And I'm like, yeah, I stole that from about 4 other schools. But, and Michael Spade, who's in the audience right now, works for me, so let's our little secret right there. But, I share a lot because they're all doing the same thing I'm doing, and we're not really competitors. In all honesty, we're not competing for the same donors, the same ticket, holders, that kind of stuff. So we share information a lot, and those are things that I think when I talked about the politics and the red tape and they understand that. So when I have a problem, I call them and say, what do you do on your campus? What do you? I'm fortunate or unfortunate to oversee our wheel club program, our courtesy car program, which just absolutely hate that part of my job. But I call them. Do you guys give stipends? Do you cover insurance? How much do you give? So I use the network a lot because I'll go through the directory and say, who's working in college athletics? Let me call them and see what they're doing at their school, that I can then put reports together and go back to my athletic director and give a comparative study. So I probably use it maybe more, even whether that's with Ward or Mike, who's not here. He's inactive right now, but they work in the business too, and so I call and see them. But I think college athletics gives you a little bit more opportunity to see each other a lot because of the games and the travel and the conferences and stuff like that. So I use the network quite a bit.
Of the 3 jobs I've had, 2 of them I had help from grads of this program to get them. The last one, if I never met David Johnston, I wouldn't have the job I've got today. So it's very valuable, and it really says a lot about the people that come through this program and go out in their everyday lives, that you can feel pretty confident, pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, I'm class of whatever, and like Shelley's saying, they're going to share their ideas with you. They're going to welcome your phone call most times. I know Jarrod didn't get called back, but maybe the cheese.
Just one guy.
Yeah. But in all honesty, I mean, the 2 college jobs I've had were both, there were grads of this program directly involved to help me. The first one to get my foot in the door, and a great opportunity that was coming out of here. And the second one, I'd met David 3 or 4 times when I was a student, and I hadn't talked to him in 7 or 8 years, and he picked up the phone one day and said, you want to come to work for us? And I wouldn't have had that chance if I hadn't known him from this program.
Boy, this is a scary question for me. Shelley, what was the most important thing you learned at Ohio University?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I'm sure it was something from Dot K's class.
John?
I don't know. I think, in all honesty, we kind of talked last night a little bit about, we're probably a little bit more relaxed as a panel and a little more open at this point because we do all have jobs. But one of the most important things I learned here, in all honesty, was how to go out and drink and get up the next morning and look presentable and do it. I mean, that, when you work hard and you play hard, you got to get up the next morning. Like, there's no, maybe Mike hasn't learned that yet, but we're going to have it. But I think that was an important thing, and however you want to say it is that I think you guys study hard, you work hard, you're doing GAs, you're doing internships, and you play hard, which is a really important part of the program, is what happens after hours or whatnot, and that's where you build some relationships. But you quickly learn that does not mean you don't get to get up and be at Peden Stadium at 7 a.m. for a football game the next day. It doesn't mean that you don't get to pull your weight and put up tents. It doesn't mean that you get to sleep in because you overindulged or got some bartender overserved.